Alright everyone, here we are. It is the last day of April, here on April 30th, and as we go throughout this year of 2020, a lot of fans around the world have been very curious about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm, specifically both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek, and exactly what the franchise is going to look as we go throughout this entire decade. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they actually have a lot of projects in the works for Disney Plus and for theatrical releases. A great example is that they have over 10 years worth of Star Wars projects in the early development phase, just for Disney Plus alone. Let that sink in for a second. That's separate from the movies themselves. So it only tells us that they're really ambitious, either out of a phase of desperation or damage control, or just really trying to be very generous to the fans. I think it's leaning more toward the fact that Disney's in full damage control mode, but that's just my take on things. And that's fine and all, as long as they're going to create positive projects that come out of it. Now, when we look at everything related to Disney, we do know that both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are working very hard together in order to really reshape Star Wars as we know it. And that's the real big deal here, is that they're really trying to bring the fans back together after they were divided over The Last Jedi, and especially even The Rise of Skywalker at that. Now, with that being said, the one project that a lot of fans are very much up in arms over is Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland's all-female-led Star Wars TV series for Disney Plus, which, like I've said before in the past couple of days here now, is that it's okay to have an all-female-led Star Wars TV series as long as it fits the story. And I've always said this before in the past, but just doing it for the sake of doing it is where you pretty much can predict and just say that the story is going to be a colossal failure and just a train wreck, a dumpster fire, whatever you want to call it, right? Now, moving on forward with this, what's really intriguing is that now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as the new Star Wars universe. Now, it's said that both Bob Chapek and Bob Iger are working together as a team in order to create a better and brighter future for Star Wars. And though Kathleen Kennedy no longer has any creative control over any of the existing Star Wars projects except for one that's in development by creator Leslye Headland, which is the all-female-led TV series for Disney Plus that will feature tons of identity politics and personal agendas, as well as real-world issues. Now, the tons of identity politics and stuff like that is set to ignore George Lucas's vision and his view of the Star Wars franchise by starting fresh, and that behind the scenes, George Lucas is said to be very unhappy with this decision by Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, and is said to be very angry with Kathleen Kennedy for choosing Leslye Headland. It's noted that Lucas wants to stop Leslye Headland and wants her to end her approach on the new TV series, since it will be ignoring his vision. On the other hand, Lucas actually favors Jon Favreau, since Jon Favreau with The Mandalorian honored George's vision for Star Wars and how it should feel in tone. Leslye Headland is set to reset many aspects of a specific timeline in the Star Wars universe with her new TV series that will alter pieces of history in the galaxy. Lucas is said to be very angry at Leslye Headland over this decision, since it does in fact change his creation that he started back in '77. It's still unclear as to what her show will be about, but it's described to focus on the Force, which could indicate as well that we will be getting Jedi or Sith in her story. Now, Lucas behind the scenes is said to be happy with the other directions of the Star Wars universe by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau by bringing in tons of Legends content to be made canon by Disney for the other projects. The only project that George is very unhappy with moving forward, which is the one initiated by Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland. Bob Iger and Chapek, the CEOs of Disney that are both working together, are also said to be very unhappy and livid over Kennedy's decision to hire Leslye Headland. Now, Lucas also is frustrated over the fact that Leslye Headland has been in the talks with creator Rian Johnson, the director, of course, of The Last Jedi, to direct some of the episodes for the new TV series sometime in either 2021 or 2022 when they begin filming. This decision by Lucasfilm left fans very bothered by the new direction of Star Wars and where it's going. However, thankfully, this will only be for one project and is considered to be Kathleen Kennedy's last project that she has full creative control over for the time being as of right now. So, like I've said before in the past, I think that this specific project, George, where he stands right now, it seems like that he's in a similar spot with The Rise of Skywalker, where he had a big problem with Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, a big problem to the point where George refused to even attend the Rise of Skywalker world premiere. You guys remember this, right? He was nowhere to be found. He was like a ghost. There was no George there. What was going on? That's the reason why, is because they had creative differences, and George was not overly happy with how the last film of the Skywalker saga, of all franchises out there in pop culture, really did not too well at the box office. It really underperformed. I mean, there's no other way to really say it. Now, when we look at the Leslye Headland TV series, I believe it's going to fail terribly if she stays the course by inserting identity politics, which no normal person wants, and by pretty much ignoring George's vision and all. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below and let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.